everyone. Welcome to another episode of Women Like Me Stories in Business. I have a really important conversation that we're going to have today with a very smart lady. So I want you to hang in there because you're going to need to learn a few things. I'm going to learn a few things. So there comes a moment in many women's lives when working harder is no longer the answer. So today, my guest is Tracy Pequin. I got it. Okay. And she knows that moment very well. In 2006, Tracy became a single mother while her husband struggled with alcoholism and addiction. She had a secure career, but suddenly she was carrying all the household income and expenses with only half the income and no child support. So, like many capable women, she did what she had been taught to do, and she worked harder. Tracy took on 3 jobs for 3 years. I couldn't even imagine 3 jobs for 3 years, only to discover that exhaustion did not automatically create financial freedom. That realization became the turning point for Tracy. So today, Tracy is a money coach who helps people understand how money works, locate financial and disability resources, and think differently about intergenerational wealth. Tracy, welcome to Women Like Me Stories in Business. I'm so glad that you're here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be able to share my story today, so I definitely appreciate the invite.
Oh, perfect. Okay, well, let's start with your story. So take us back to 2006. What was happening with your family when you realized you could no longer stay in, I guess, the marriage?
Well, I could say that I was a single married parent for the last 5 years of my marriage, right? So not only did I have my two sons who were teenagers at the time, because my husband struggled with alcohol and addictions, I was always checking on him. So I wasn't the mother that I could have been at that point because I'm so worried about the problem child. And the problem child in that time was my husband, unfortunately. And so it was very chaotic. And I realized that not only was I going down, but my sons were too, and they were 12 and 15 at the time. So I had to make the biggest decision, which was to let him go and let God and then do what I could for my family.
Yeah, wow. Well, what was the hardest part of becoming a single mother? Because you were also trying to protect your family from the effects of what was happening.
Well, exactly. And my oldest son, unfortunately, was kind of following down that road. So when people grow up and that, usually you have one that becomes like the caregiver type and the other one that follows. So my oldest son was also kind of following in that direction. And so I was just, trying to manage things as best as possible. But I will say this, being a money coach now, at that time, I had to go bankrupt because we owed $60,000 at that point in time. We spent more than we made. And I knew he wasn't going to be paying any of that money back. So we tried to go bankrupt together. Of course, I paid for it. And then he wasn't following through. So they said, if he doesn't follow through, it could mess it up. So I went on my own course. All the creditors went after him and he had to pay for himself to go and do it. But by doing that, I was able to start with a clean slate. And then I knew that I had to get right with money. I had to create a new relationship with money because working a lot of jobs after 3 years, not only was I not ahead, I owed CRA money because when you work part-time jobs, they don't take enough off. That's the biggest challenge.
Oh, right. It must have been exhausting. So I mean, how did you handle 3 jobs and your boys?
Well, one of them was even Canada Post at one point for 4 months. And I worked as a designated driver. I cleaned houses. I worked as a caregiver, people with disabilities, diverse abilities, I like to call it, and high risk youth. My sister lived downstairs, so she was able to help out somewhat with my two sons, and they were a little bit more independent. And I got great at planning, right? So I'd cook the meal in the morning time at 6 o'clock. So when they come home from school, at least there's food available, right? So
Yeah,
yeah, I had to really reorganize pretty well everything that I was doing. This being said, I was doing it all before in many ways.
right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So you grew up with a mom who relied on on welfare, on social services. So, what did money mean to you as a child? Fear, scarcity, shame, safety, or something else?
I would probably say shame. Like I was embarrassed. And I remember that moment more than ever. I think it was grade 10. I'm watching all my friends in the cafeteria eating their lunch, and I'm outside with my peanut butter and jam sandwich, feeling embarrassed and thinking, you know what? I am never going to have children until I feel financially secure. My mom's like, well, you'll never have children then because nobody ever feels financially secure. So when I got my job at BC Town, man, I jumped for joy. I thought, wow, I'm set for life. My husband was became a carpenter, and we were making 90,000 plus back in the 90s.
Wow.
So I've had occasions where I've had money and I've had occasions where I don't, and I much prefer having money, just saying.
Exactly. I always say, like, I'm a meat eater. I'd rather eat steak than hot dogs if I have a
Yes.
choice.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Provides choices, it provides comfort, to a certain
Yes.
degree. But the
Yeah.
only thing I knew about money is there wasn't enough. So anytime I had like a challenge, I always thought, how do I cut back? Instead of what I think now, how do I make more? How do I solve a problem? How do I do the work once and get paid over and over again? How many different ways could I get paid for this time? If I could pass anything to the next generation, is ask different questions, because getting good jobs and working harder is not working for people. How's that working for
Yeah.
people, quite frankly,
Yeah.
right now?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, many women say, I'm just not good with money. Do you believe that that is true, or is it usually evidence that no one ever taught them?
A big part of it is nobody ever taught them. And hey, I felt the same way. Math was easy till grade 4.
Yeah.
It was not my forte in school. But here's the thing, if I had let my limiting beliefs hold me back, I would not have mastered the most complicated product out there, which is the registered disability savings plan. So don't ever let your limiting beliefs hold you back. Your history doesn't determine your future, you do. And it's all about a decision. I didn't see anything else out there for me. So I realized, you know what? We don't change unless the pain of staying the same is worse than the pain of change. And I was ready to change. I was willing.
Yeah. That's such a teaching lesson, what you just said, because it's so true. Sometimes we don't feel like we have a choice, but we always have a choice.
Yes, yes,
You could have a choice to just sit and do nothing. That's
yes,
still a choice. Yeah.
absolutely.
What does a poverty mindset look like in everyday life?
Well, when things get tight, we always go, well, how do I cut back? So what apps are out there? There's Flip, there's Odd Bunch, there's Flashfood, there's all kinds of apps out there. So we always look at how do we cut back? So I'll give you an example, another life-changing moment. In 2015, I had been living in the same house for 10 years, and my landlords had decided to give us notice and then we'd have to move. And everywhere I was looking at, it was $1,000 more per month. And I was already struggling to pay my rent. My business wasn't doing well. I got injured at work as a caregiver. And now at that point, I had started Master Key Mastermind Experience, learning about Think and Grow Rich. What are my specialized skills? So I was a specialized caregiver. I was good at that. And so I decided at that point, it's kind of like, well, if I got to live with somebody anyways, I might as well get paid for it. So I could have gone other way. I could have went into a one-bedroom basement suite, cut down on costs and all that kind of stuff. Instead, I went the other way. And so I got a house, and in the beginning I did Airbnb, don't do it. It's a lot of work. Anyways, and so I've been providing home share ever since. So for the last 10 years, I've had different clients that have come through. Now my job is to help them become semi-independent, and then they do, and then they leave, and then I have a new client. But what's happened is I've been able to have this house, the AC, the room and everything, whereas I would have died during that the bubble, the heat bubble. Like if
Yeah.
I had made a different decision, I would be in a horrible position. Right now, all of my income comes from well, not all of my income, a big portion of my income comes from the government. So here's what I learned. When you work as an employee, you pay a ton of taxes. At working at
Yes.
TELUS, I was paying probably somebody's welfare check every month. But when you work for the government as a caregiver, they don't take taxes off. It's not taxable income. So one of the things I believe in these days, you got to understand the system and work within the system, right? So I work with Primerica. I've got residual income coming from there. I'm doing that. And now I can really focus on, to me, what's important is helping families achieve financial security because nobody's teaching us that. So
Yeah.
really what I do is I teach you what the banks, the insurance companies, and CRA doesn't want you to know. And oh, by the way, let's put ICBC in that
Oh,
and Big Pharma, right? There's okay, they're all
yeah.
shaking hands over there and they're not serving us. And so to me,
Yes.
it's like finding out what's available and helping people get access to it. Because I can't
Yeah.
talk to somebody about investing if they don't have enough money to get to the end of the month. So renters assistance program, safer, like the DTC, disability tax credit, that goes back up to 10 years and it will give you a tax refund. Highest I've got for somebody was $47,000.
Wow.
Right? People don't
Wow.
know it exists. And so if you know anybody with a long-term disability or you're providing care for somebody, there's a disability tax credit. Go back up to 10 years because there's a lot of costs associated with it. And so
Yes.
that's the way the government has to kind of help and
Wow.
actually say, you've overpaid your taxes. We owe you money. But here's another thing out there. There are companies that charge 18 to 33% of your tax refund. So they'll help you get this in place. But if you get 10 grand back, they're taking $1,800 right off the top. I think it's horrible
Oh, yeah.
that these companies are getting away with doing that, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, what were we taught about work that may no longer serve us?
9 to 5 to 65 isn't an option anymore. Number one, right? It's not going to
Right.
get you free.
Yeah.
Business is what will help. So you can either put your money in the bank as a loaner, or you can invest in mutual funds, and you're investing in companies that do well, and you that profit comes back to you. I think that's definitely a key factor and just understanding what is out there. There is, the government will go Canada.ca, every dollar counts. Hey, let's show you how. How many people actually do that? How many people
Mm,
actually look at that?
yeah.
I look at that,
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
right?
Well, what are some of the rules of the money game that most families and schools never teach us?
Probably one of the biggest things is you work hard for your money, and there's three things that are trying to get it right now. And so the way I remember this is Tim Hortons. Who doesn't like Tim Hortons? Number one is taxation. Our biggest liability that we have is paying the tax man. Do we have to pay taxes? Yes. Do we have to pay as much as we do? No. So we want to look at that. So having especially long-term accounts in some sort of either a registered account, TFSA, RSP, RESP, RDSP, as an example, it either defers paying taxes or with a tax-free savings account, you pay no taxes on the growth whatsoever, $0. Here's the
Yeah.
challenge. Most people have it sitting at a bank. It's not growing. Paying no taxes on no growth is no benefit. Does that make sense? The
Yes, it does
taxation?
make sense.
With
Yeah.
inflation, we're hearing about that all the time. Now, if your money's sitting in the bank and it's giving you 4 or 5%, and I've seen some RDSPs with 0.08%, right? It's not keeping up with inflation. You're guaranteed to lose money,
Yes.
right? Because what has inflation
Yeah.
been? 5, 6, some of them 18%. So
Yeah.
you want to look, you want to protect your money, but you also want to be more aggressive with it. Longer term accounts, you can have a lot more ups and downs in the market because you're not taking it out tomorrow,
Yeah.
right?
Well, what should a woman know about her finances before facing a divorce, job loss, illness, or even the death of her partner?
Right. And let me just finish the last one. Last one is market fluctuation. Markets go up and down. People think, oh, it's timing the market. It's not. Oh, markets are doing really good. I need to buy. Markets aren't doing good. I need to sell. It's not timing the market. It's time
Mm,
in the market. The discipline of putting and paying yourself first is the most important part. Now, the thing, especially with so many women I talk to, oh, my husband takes care of all that. That's fantastic. However, we have superior mortality rates, right? Women live longer than men,
yes.
and we tend to marry men that are older than us. So at some
Mm,
point, we're going to have to manage that and also know where your insurance policies, investments, all of that is. We recommend having a binder called PAID. P is protection, wills, insurance policies, all in that. A is assets, everything you own. I is income. Where's your money coming from? D is debt. This way, God forbid something happens to you, they can pick that up and they know exactly who to call and how to claim everything. Because otherwise, it just sits there. And there is literally billions of dollars out there unclaimed. Oh, my dad had a life insurance policy, but I don't know who with. Or my mom had an RSP, but I don't know with
Right.
what bank. And don't put it in a safety deposit box at the bank because I've had situations where they have passed on. They're still charging them for it, but they won't let them get anything out of the account. So they're going through lawyers and all this kind of stuff
Oh my
because
goodness.
they thought they were doing the right thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, how can women begin learning about money when they feel embarrassed by how little they currently understand?
So one thing I can say about working with me is there is no judgments out there. The reality is most people don't want to look at their finances until they're in a good position, until they have money set aside. For as little as $25 a month, you can have professional money managers managing your money. You will never sign anything with me you don't understand. But even still, it's almost like the maid's coming over and people want to clean up first.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah.
I help you get it sorted. Don't worry about not having it organized. That's what I try
I've cleaned
to
up for
do.
the maid.
I know, right? And one other thing, we have a How Money Works course all online. It's all free. We believe everybody's entitled to a free financial education, but the banks aren't educating us,
No.
right? The insurance companies aren't. So we actually have an online course. One is like the introduction. P is protection, A is assets, I is income, money or pay yourself first, and D is debt. Have you
Yeah.
noticed that everybody shows us how to get into debt, but they don't show us how to get out?
Yes.
Banks make their
Yes.
money from the longer you're in debt. Our philosophy is the quicker you get out of debt, which is good for you, and it frees up money for your retirement, which is good for you. And my residual income comes from helping people retire. Keep more of your own money, and I get paid long term. So our business models are completely different.
Yeah, for sure.
It's the
So you
biggest difference.
specialize in helping people understand disability resources. So why do so many people miss benefits credits or the support that they may qualify for?
Because the government has all these programs, but they don't want you to know about them. Have you ever seen a commercial about the Registered Disability Savings Plan or the
No.
BC Teachers Education Savings Grant of $1,200 for all children in BC between 6 and 9? So they have all this money out there. A lot of people don't open up an RESP because they have no money to contribute. There's up to $2,000 in bonds. Now, I believe the reason why I specialize in disability resources, because, we do have mental health issues in my family, number one, because I was a caregiver. And so the RDSP came out in 2008, and I got licensed in 2009. So when I learned about this, it's like, how come nobody knows about this? They don't want
Yeah.
you to know. They don't want you to know. And so I will see somebody in a wheelchair and I will go talk to them. I actually do a webinar every couple months where we talk about what qualifies for the DTC, a form to fill out to build a case, because the biggest pushback is from the doctors. Oh, I think I qualify for a disability tax credit. And you know what they say? Oh, you won't qualify. So then people walk away.
Oh,
However, it's not the doctors who decide. The underwriters is CRA. The biggest reason why there's a pushback from the doctors is because they don't understand what qualifies for the DTC. They don't know how to fill out the form. They're busy. They should have
yeah.
somebody doing the administration. And so then people walk away. And we don't tend to get healthier as we get older.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Right.
Wow.
And so by
Wow.
by helping people understand what qualifies, so I have the DTC in place. Most people would not think that I qualify. I can talk, I can walk. Well, I've been in a couple car accidents in the last 5 years, no fault, not my fault. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. I still deal with chronic pain on a daily basis. Now it's different
Yes.
levels, but you think about it. If somebody's dealing with chronic pain, that affects your mental health, right?
Yes, of course.
That affects your ability to prepare meals, getting dressed, going walking. So to qualify for the DTC is if there's marketable restrictions in 8 or more areas. Mental health is one. So that could be PTSD and depression and anxiety and alcoholism. Those are mental health issues.
Mm,
Sleep. If you're not sleeping, that affects every area of your life. But
yeah.
how does that affect walking, getting dressed, preparing meals, going to the bathroom? You think anybody wants to talk about Crohn's disease or IBS? But they
No.
are a challenge, right? You can't work
Yes.
a regular job. You have
Yeah.
to be at the washroom. And then the other one is hearing, seeing, vision, and talking. So if any of those are impeded, so stuttering or low talker, or you've had a stroke or something like that.
Yes.
The way they look at it with vision and hearing, just so people understand, is if you have a vision problem, you wear glasses, it's not an issue. If you have a hearing challenge and you have a hearing aid, it's not considered a disability. But like with eyes, double vision, blurry vision, the tags, tinnitus or whatever that's called when you have ringing in the ears, those are other things, right? So it's really about how you put it all together, and then the doctors will look at that. Now all they have to do is copy and paste. So Disability Alliance, highly recommend it. There's a My DTC tool on there. You can literally go in there and build a case. The challenge of doing that on your own is sometimes you don't see what other people see. We're very adaptable as human beings,
Right.
right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
husband and wife, she's had a car accident or something. So he prepares the meals, she does dishes. Why? Cooking the meals takes a lot longer. Doing the dishes is quick, but it's like, okay, well, if he wasn't here, what would that look like? I'd be ordering out. I would be throwing pizzas in the oven, right? Like
Yes.
that's the
Yeah.
challenge.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, it just as you're explaining it, I'm like my mind is just expanding because yeah, it makes sense, but who would ever think that, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. And they
Yeah.
say that mental health, mobility, and pain are the biggest challenges. And here's the thing, it used before COVID, it was 1 in 8. Now it's 1 in 5. Now, in my mom's day, it was like nobody had it. Now, of course, it wasn't inclusive. We didn't really know about it so much then, but
Yeah.
that's where we're at right now. And it's like, and we just do the best we can. How many people are going to work every single day in chronic pain and they don't know about CPP disability or PWD, or if
Yeah.
you have an adult child that has a disability, we think that we're supposed to just provide everything. Well, 6 months before they turn 18, they can apply for PWD. In disability, it's 18 as an adult, right?
Oh,
It's not
okay. Yeah.
19. So
Yeah.
people don't
Wow.
know that, right?
Well, where should someone begin if they suspect they may qualify for the disability related resource, but they don't know who to ask?
Right. Well, you can always ask me because I'll walk you
Yes.
through it for sure.
Yes.
But you can call Disability Alliance. That's one of the places to go. But I'm going to tell you, they have like a 3 month waiting period for somebody to be able to do
Yeah.
what I do. And I don't charge
Yes.
for this, right? I do
Yeah.
help people build that. And my ask is if they know people that would benefit from this information. My business is built on referrals, or if they need other products and services like TFSA, wills, insurance,
Yes.
that they would consider working with me. So
Yeah.
that's the way I look at it. But you can go to Disability Alliance and look under my DTC tool. And a lot of people don't know about CLBC. So if you have a child that has a disability, Community Living BC is a government agency that helps people potentially with home share or respite or programs in place. Like there are so many options that are out there. The other thing is you can Google BC Benefit Finder, and it will actually, and you put in your particular stats, it'll bring up different things.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
writing that one down.
absolutely. And because I worked at TELUS for 20 years,
Yes.
if you call 604-660-2421, that's the BC provincial kind of switchboard.
Yeah.
And there's one for the federal government, which is 1-800-O-Canada. So 1-800-622-6232. My memory for numbers is great. My ability to add, not so much, right? But
I can see you've got, I'm thinking to myself, how does she remember telephone numbers in this day and age?
absolutely, and I thought, what is this memory of numbers going to help me? So yeah, when I work with people, I can tell them how to call CPP and Revenue
Yes.
Canada and all these
Yeah.
different companies, right?
So if I understand correctly then, so if someone has a disability or they have a child that has a disability, they can come to you and you help them navigate through the
All
paperwork,
the
the
systems.
maze, the
Yes.
frustration.
Yeah, because it's
Wow.
like everything could be good one day and then you have a car accident one day and then all of a sudden you're in trouble. And if I had a magic wand, the restrictions that the government has on people with a disability is horrible. They've been destined to live in poverty. And so one of the biggest things I'm looking for is other people who have a heart like mine that would want to get licensed, make more money, and like imagine getting paid to help people find money they don't even know they qualify for, especially in these days,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And also people that have, physical disabilities, yes, of course, but people with mental disabilities, severe depression or anxiety, or they can't think straight. How are they supposed to fill out forms, deal with government agencies, get things like it's such an obstacle. I can see so many people getting started and then saying, forget it,
Well, that's
too
what
much.
happens. It's a 16-page document, right? So, developmental disabilities, dyslexia, like they look at this page and go, I have no idea. They talk to their doctor, oh, you won't qualify. And it just stops them in their track because
Yeah,
they don't understand really what qualifies or how to fill out the form. So it's like,
yeah.
really bridging the gaps. And what's the difference between CPP disability and PWD? And by the way, as an advisor, we don't get paid a lot of money on that. They changed the compensation in 2022. So we only get paid on the money somebody contributes. By the way, with the RDSP, it's up to $90,000 in grants. So if somebody's low income and open up the account and put no money in, so making it below about 37,000, there's up to $20,000 in bonds. So somebody opens up an account and let's say it goes back 10 years, they get 10 grand deposited into their account, putting $0 in.
Wow.
Up to 20,000 in total, or until the end of the year you turn 49, whichever comes first. The way the grants work, the first $500 per year you put in, the government adds $1,500 on top of it. Have you heard of any investment where you're getting 300% right off the top?
No.
And
No,
then
I have not. No.
the,
Wow.
the next thousand you put in, they add $2,000 on top of
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
any money you put in, they're adding three or
Yeah.
two times, and that can go back up to 10 years. Here's the challenge with working with the
Wow.
bank.
So can you help anybody in Canada?
So I am fully licensed in British Columbia. I'm about to get licensed in Alberta. And even if Quebec is the only one I could not get a non-resident license for, but we have
Ah,
strategic partners all across Canada. So if I
right.
build enough of clients out there, or there's reps that are out there, then it makes sense for me to get a non-resident license, right? So
Gotcha.
Ontario is where I'm going next after
Yes.
there, right? Because it's huge.
Yes.
So yeah, the ability to be able to get licensed here in BC and then get a non-resident license. And then so in the meantime, what I'm doing, like for Alberta, is I'm
Yeah.
bringing on clients. So it's my RVP that has the clients. Then once I get licensed, then he transfers over to me because there is a cost to keeping licenses on a yearly basis. So
Right.
whenever I make decisions, what's the risk and what's my reward? If the risk is more than the reward, I don't move forward. If the reward is more, I move forward. That's how
Yes.
I think.
Simple.
Yeah.
Simple decision. So what are you seeing that worries you most about the younger generations?
Well, number one, mental health, youth, high risk youth. I feel for them. I've worked with them. And the way the government is set up, if with a high risk youth, as an example, they get $4,500 per client tax free. So I had a friend of mine, two high risk youth, $9,000 a month. She would feed them breakfast, get them up in the morning. They can't get a driver's license during that time. It's too risky. So now they're 19. And if they keep them on as a client, the compensation goes down to 2,500 or around there. So, and they're used to living that. So now they're 19 and now they're living in tents and killing themselves. So that's one part with high risk youth.
Yeah.
My biggest concern so if you're a mom, grandmother, we need to talk because I'm so concerned about what it's going to look like for them. In previous years, the way people retired was through company pension plans. That's really not happening anymore. The
Mhm.
second part is through government, contributing to the government, which of course is not enough. The average pension is about 1,500 a month. So food, rent, or medication. Let me pick one. So that's the one part of it. And then it's personal contributions. Well, if you don't have enough money to get to the end of the month, you're not investing. And if you are, it's probably sitting at the bank where it's not growing. And we're not putting as much into CPP because of the side gigs, right? So
Yeah.
the three
Yes.
main ways
Yes.
that people retired before isn't going to happen moving
Mm.
forward. So we have to think outside the box.
That's really, I mean, I never even thought about that, but that's really sad. It's a sad for who's coming up behind us.
Absolutely. So we got, and then they're also saying that the greatest wealth transfer is occurring in history right now. They're expecting $81 trillion to be moved in the next 20 years, with all the baby boomers passing on their wealth. So back in the 70s, they could buy a house for 150K. Now it's worth 2.5 million.
Yes.
But unless we teach our kids and our grandchildren how this money works, it's going to be gone in a generation or two. They've never had
Yes.
that kind of money, number one. And
Yeah.
the second thing, we believe every family, every business should have somebody who's licensed that people trust that will help them manage that money as it flows through the different generations. So, who in your family, do you trust that would be able to make that happen? Because I don't believe it's the government that's going to solve this. I believe it's grassroots, it's bottom up. So we have to learn it so we can teach our kids and our grandkids how this money works by getting licensed. That is the best way because who has access to more information, a consumer or a representative?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, for sure. So, as a mother and grandmother, what do you want most for your sons, your grandsons to understand about work, money, and freedom?
One of the first things I want to say is compound interest is a beautiful thing. What is
Oh,
working for you? Right? If the government
yes.
was smart, every brand new baby, if they threw $1,000 in there, just let it compound for 65 years, depending on the interest rate, they would have a serious amount of money.
Yes.
So I have an RESP set up for both of my grandsons, and I also have an in trust account. I thought you had to be crazy wealthy to do that. So I'm putting money into it, it's compounding. So when they turn 19, if they're good with money, I can transfer it over to them. They can actually max out their tax-free savings account for year 18. It's weird. You have room at 18, but you can't send a contract till 19, right? Max out,
Yes.
right? Max
Strange.
out,
Yes.
max out for this year and continue maxing that out. And then as your income goes up, then looking at RSPs. Like I say, registered accounts is the best way. But if my grandson at 19 is not good with money, I'm not giving it to him yet. Right,
Yes.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
wait. Maybe it's 30 before they become
Yeah.
responsible. So it is compound interest that's important.
Well, what would you say to a woman who's sitting where you were?
I would say that there is possibilities, right? There are options. And so and this is part of the reason why I'm so adamant because I know so many people right now that are in relationships that no longer work for them because of finances. Because if you're struggling with two incomes, what is one income going to look like? And that was a big part for me. Well,
Yeah.
I couldn't count on his income at that time anyway.
Yes.
So by starting part-time, by learning the rules, getting to the point where you're not dependent on his income anymore, so that you do have the option to be able to leave, I think is a key part. And even if it's not for that, get educated. What we don't know about money is going to cost us
Yes.
a lot, like
Yes.
$90,000. What? Like people don't know this exists, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, get educated, learn how this stuff works, take control. I'm a control freak, right?
Yes.
I didn't have
Oh,
control as a child, so I want it now, and
yes.
I want to manage my own money. My
Yeah.
bank is used to just put money in, pay my bills, but I have everything else, my own TFSA, RSP, because somebody's getting paid on their money. Why not have it be you?
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're very money smart, my dear. And
Thank
thank
you.
you so much for sharing all of this. So how can people find you? Where do they find you?
If you Google me, I'm all over. So Tracy Pequin, Pequin. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I have websites. I have landing pages. Yes, you'll be able to find me. My phone number is all out there. Not sure what, but 778-388-5140. Give me a call, send me a text, and I promise that I'm going to do everything I can to help you build that long-term financial security that everybody should feel that they have a chance for. I truly believe the biggest
Yeah.
reason is we don't believe it's possible.
I think you're right. I think that's one of the biggest reasons
Yeah,
because they don't think it's possible. I remember
absolutely.
somebody once said, "Well, I don't want to be rich. I just want to be comfortable." So I said, "Well, if you win the $1 million, I'll come and take it from you then, because I want to be rich." If you don't care about it, but it's so that's a mindset thing, I
It
think,
is.
right? It's just it's that fear, and there's a big fear around money.
Well, it's our relationship with money, I think, is a
Yeah.
big part of it. We grew up watching Scrooge, right? Like the only way to have
Yes.
money is to step on people, make them work at Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Poverty mindset. Our parents
Yeah.
thought about money. So for many people, that word money just sends all kinds of really negative feelings. And I'll just give an
Yes.
example. Secrets of the Millionaire Mindset went to this course. They were talking about this individual that anytime he got money, it was gone. And they traced it back to when he was a kid. And on Saturdays, mom used to give him $5. They take the little sister, go to the store, buy junk food. They were excited every Saturday for this. On his way to the store one time, he lost the $5. He comes back, little sister's crying, and mom says, I can't trust you with money. And that set
Um,
his whole blueprint. Our money beliefs and systems is all by the time we're 7 years old. That is imprinted within us. And so we have to create a new story in our subconscious mind. We have to understand how the mind works. But that's just an example. They say there's a spender and a saver. Well, if you're married, that's a problem.
yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
there's the avoider, which is easy to recognize because I don't open any of their mail.
Yes. I have a son like that.
Okay, absolutely. And there's the spiritual one that just thinks everybody will be okay, even if they don't change anything, right? And
Yes.
so it's kind of
Yes.
understanding your money
Yes.
personality and then going,
Yeah.
what do I need to do to change this, right? Because
Yeah.
it's not working for you.
Yeah. I have a similar background to you, and I grew up on welfare, and I was on welfare as a single mom, and I remember, but that as I got out of that and started to earn income, and I remember my mom, unfortunately, she's passed away now, but I remember like watching my mom and my brothers. They live that same 30-day cycle. They'd get their check within a week and a half, it's gone. Now they're borrowing. Now they're going to food banks. Now they're grumpy. They're unhappy. And it's just like this nasty circle. And it didn't seem to, for them, unfortunately, they didn't seem to see their way out of it.
Yes.
And it's just this really scary financial, and what I saw and what I learned, and you as well, is that you don't have to live there. And it's actually, this is my brothers are extreme because they have drug problems like your ex,
Right.
but life is so much easier when you have a paycheck. Like, do you people like, I just get so frustrated sometimes. I'm like, don't you get it? Like, there's an easier way. And I know there's all sorts of emotional stuff that comes along with that. That's why someone stays in that cycle. I understand that. But it's so sad to see. And it's so wonderful that there's someone like you out there who's able to help people to navigate the system and help get what they deserve too. Because really, what you're talking about is just what people deserve. Legally, they are legally required, not required, they're legally, what's the word I'm looking for? Entitled to this.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So, Tracy, what do you now know in your bones that you wish the frightened, exhausted single mother you once were could have known then?
Hope. I want to give people
Oh,
hope because here's what's happening right now. People have lost hope. Right. And I saw the new reality, and I don't like to watch it because it's negative. And of course, what we put in our subconscious mind is. When faith replaces fear, the clouds disappear. I lived in fear all the time, one black cloud calling me out, after another. But it's really making that decision that you don't have to live there. And when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. That's how it works. But it wasn't until I'm working three jobs and I overheard a conversation where they say we help people with broken finances and broken careers. And I waved and I said, hello, I know lots of people like that. Well, I didn't want to let them know it was me, but it was me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I've been with this company for 17 years now. I've been a
Wow.
caregiver for 20. I worked at TELUS for 20. And that's not even all my job experience. I just think I'm 105, but I'm 59.
Oh my goodness. Well, Tracy, thank you so much for being willing to come on the podcast and share your important wisdom. It is just so important, and I hope that whoever's listening to this is going to, if you don't want to reach out to Tracy for some help, find somebody or if you think you can navigate the system yourself, give it a try. But get what you're entitled to. It can help, and in this such expensive society we live in. I mean, my husband and I go to the grocery store, and I walk through, and I think back to those days, right? And I think, how are people doing this? I don't know how people are eating.
They're
Like
not.
I
They're
don't.
not. They're
Yeah,
not. They're
like
not
it's
like it.
crazy how
Yeah.
expensive it is.
Yeah.
Oh, it upsets me.
Yes, it
So
does.
do something wonderful for yourselves. Reach out to Tracy. She's got the tools. She's navigated people through it before, and she wants to help. She cares. So Tracy, thank you so much. Oh, I want everybody else to know also, I'm going to have all Tracy's links in the show notes. So you will be able to easily find her. Just go into the show notes. All the links will be there. She's got some videos that you can watch to help educate yourself. Or if you want to just step right out of your fear and speak with her, the information will be there to do that as well. Okay. That's it. Well, Tracy, thank you again for doing this. I greatly appreciate it. And I just know so many people are going to be helped by listening to this podcast. And it's very important for people to hear. So I'm going to make sure that I share it everywhere.
Awesome. And Julie, again, thanks for inviting me. And again, the biggest thing, our past doesn't determine our future. We do. Julie and I didn't come from the best background, but we found a way to take our pain and actually
Yeah.
bring it to purpose, right? So her
Yes.
sharing other people's stories and what I'm able to do right now is all from one decision.
Yes, it
Okay.
is. Yes, it's just a decision away, people. Just a
Yes.
decision. Okay. Well, thank all of you for being here on this very important episode of Women Like Me Stories in Business. And we will see you again next time. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.